podcast. I'm your host, Terrence Echols, and this is my 15th episode of the Echols Unlimited podcast. And today is a special podcast because I have my good friend Matt Turner on with me today. Matt, nice to see you today.
Nice to see you. Thank you for having me. I'm excited. Been watching the podcast. It's great.
Thank you. All right, so we got a little interview going for you guys. Matt is currently a junior guard for the Marist men's basketball team. Redshirt sophomore, actually, right? Yeah, redshirt sophomore technically, but he's coming back this year. It's going to be his first year playing at Marist, just coming off of his redshirt year. And we're just going to start off, just talk about your background, Matt. Like, what was it like growing up with family, like your sports, and what did you do in school?
So my background. So originally I was born across overseas in a small country called Singapore. My dad was over there for business. I don't remember too much, even though I do remember having a hoop in my room. In terms of basketball, my background, my dad grew up not too far. I live in Connecticut currently, and my dad grew up in Harlem, which wasn't too far. Obviously, the Harlem, the city, the basketball era, and just all that mess that he grew up with. So as a little kid, I used to play for a team called the Gauchos, and that's what I would say my love for basketball started. Just going back and forth every weekend, seeing the top players, going to Rucker Park as a little kid. Not even knowing what 100% was going on, I just wanted to be like those guys. Then fast forward, I would say when basketball started getting serious, around 7th, 8th grade, I played AAU on the Nike circuit. That's when I started getting into that. A team called New York Lightning and an old team called Metro Hawks. Did that, went to a public school called Trumbull High for 2 years, and then transferred to a school called Blair Academy. Lou Day, a bunch of top players had went there. Spent there for, reclassified, redid my sophomore year, and spent 3 years. And then went to Santa Clara for a year, transferred, and now I'm at Marist.
All right, that's a good brief overview of your journey so far. My next question was going to be, when did your love for basketball start? So you really started in that New York sort of basketball like culture.
You see, it's interesting because I used to be really into video games a lot. And I liked basketball, but I wouldn't say as much of my brother. I would say my love for basketball really, really took off. I feel it's like with anything, in 3rd grade when I started realizing I'm kind of good at this and I'm pretty fast, that's when I said I started to really love basketball and I started to pay attention to the NBA more and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Did you play in a lot of like rec leagues and stuff?
Oh, a bunch of. I played. Well, the rec league near my house was way too easy for me. Mm-hmm. And then after like 2 years, my dad like moved me up in a bunch of rec leagues in the city of Bridgeport. Just playing with a lot of inner city kids. You know, it's a different style of basketball, obviously. Right. And just getting used to that at a young age.
Yeah. So what is it like in Connecticut? Like, where are some of the big cities where a lot of good players come out of? Like, what is it like playing?
See, the big cities in Connecticut that I would say produce the most talent would be near me, which is Bridgeport, town over from Trumbull. Then it would be New Haven, and then Hartford. Those are the 3 big hubs for basketball. But, it's tough because Connecticut has a lot of restrictions, and it's not really known for basketball. So a lot of top players in those areas don't play with each other or stay together. Okay. They go to New York, Mass, different states around them. So,
yeah. So you talked about like your upbringing, and who did you admire most when you were growing up?
My brother.
Really?
He was before he stopped playing basketball now, but he was younger. He was ranked really high in the state, and just seeing his work ethic and him every day outside. So I admired him as like a personal standpoint. I just wanted to be like my older brother. But in terms of like an NBA player, since I was a little kid till today, has always been LeBron James.
Right.
Just always admired.
Same here.
Yeah.
Exactly.
My whole life.
So, where did your brother play? Like, how much older is he?
My brother's 4 years older than me. He played with the Gauchos in some EYBL teams when they were at EYBL a couple years ago. Okay. When he was like 15, he played, and then he didn't take basketball as seriously as me, I would say. He started finding different interests as he got older in high school, which is obviously fine. Right. And he ended up playing Division III basketball for 2 years, and then went to UConn, transferred there. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I see. And what other people, besides, you mentioned your brother and you mentioned LeBron, like what other people helped influence your basketball career?
I have to say big props to my mentor named Ted. and obviously my father, and Joe Mintegna, my high school, Blair Academy high school coach.
Okay.
When I think of the three people that really influenced me and really pushed me, it really made me see what I could become. I would say 100% those three are always hard on me, never turned their back on me. So those are the big three.
Awesome. So you mentioned, I was going to get into like what AAU teams you play for. You mentioned the Gauchos. You mentioned the New York Lightning. How did you come about playing for those teams?
See, it's interesting. All because my brother. That's helped. He used to go on Facebook actually and send people like highlight clips of me.
Okay.
Obviously a little exaggerate my height. He'll be like 5'10" point guard, 7th grade, 8th grade. Send it to a bunch of people. Then one day the Gauchos coach, which at the time they were a top team, just replied, said get him for a tryout, and I played well. And then from there, playing with the Gauchos, New York's a hub obviously for basketball, and a bunch of teams just saw me, and it ended up with the Lightning.
Okay. What was the Lightning like? Who did you end up playing with?
Couple names. My 17th year, I played at Butler right now. He transferred from Duke. His name is Jordan Tucker.
Oh yeah,
He's a top
I remember
Syracuse
him.
prospect.
Yeah, Syracuse was looking at him.
Yep, top prospect there. Player came during that whole Jelly Fam era when that was very big. Guy named Jordan Walker, small, shifty guard, went to the Patrick School.
Okay.
Couple players that go to San Diego State. Player Jesse Govan from Georgetown. The list goes on.
Right.
But the players I played against, it's a who's who. Any top young player you've seen, I've seen him or played against him.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Like you're talking about, like Michael Porter, Bagley,
Trey Young, Jason Tatum, Malik Monk, De'Aaron Fox. It's interesting. It makes me work. It makes me want to work harder because I saw their development.
Exactly.
I saw them being there at my peers at these camps, at these tournaments, and just seeing how much they progressed.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. For sure. What was I gonna ask? So Matt, tell me about what was it like playing basketball at Trumbull.
Okay, so playing basketball at Trumbull. The FCAC was known as one of the better leagues in Connecticut. I would say my confidence blossomed a lot at Trumbull because I was thrown into the fire as a freshman and sophomore. We were not very good. We were decent my sophomore year, or freshman year, we were not very good.
Okay.
It was good. I got to experiment what I was good at. I had a lot of publicity on me, but I would say that competition overall just wasn't people pushing me behind me like on my team, just in a different conference. But overall, it was fun. I got to, I think that's the biggest thing in basketball, just building your confidence. Once you have confidence, the sky's the limit.
Exactly.
So I would say Trump was a big stepping stone for me there.
Okay. Cool. Did you play with anyone who
notable?
Yeah.
No.
Besides your current teammate, Mike Servetus?
Shout out Mike.
Mike.
Besides Big Mike, the legend, I have not played anyone notable.
Okay.
No.
All right. So sort of that helped influence your transfer to Blair.
Yes.
Wanting to get more. You said you had exposure, but you wanted to get more competition.
I had some like I remember Fairfield had been looking at me, Iona. But I just wanted more. I wanted way more than everything. I wanted way more than everybody else. And I just wanted more schools to look at me. I thought I was just as good as the top players, so that was a big influence. I wanted to push myself, see how good I actually was with the players.
Yeah. And what was your experience like at Blair?
At Blair, I played very well my first year there. I averaged about 14 points. It was a struggle physically. My junior year is when I started to get a lot of interest, and I got some big offers there. I would say that was my best year at Blair. And then senior year, we didn't win a state chip, but we had one of the best records at Blair. It was a great experience. I had a bunch of talent around me. Dan Gock, Miami. Zach Kent, Tennessee. Anthony Mack was at Miami, but just transferred. So our team was just pretty stacked for a high school team.
Yeah. So what was the difference between moving from, because at Blair you stayed there? Yeah. So what was the big difference going from home to Blair?
It was a maturity. I would say the difference was, I would say, even though people think prep school is like college, which is not. It's strict high school that you live at. Clear that misconception. But I would say it's all about what you want now. There's no your mom or your dad or your distractions sometimes telling you to do other things. It's just you, free time, and now you get to choose what you want to do with that free time. For others at a young age, I would say even when I played well my sophomore year, I didn't fully understand how hard you had to work. So that was the biggest adjustment period for me, just figuring out like what to do with my free time, how to split up my day smartly and precisely, and not waste time management, things like that.
Right, that's good. So you would say that Blair is just like maybe a high school that you stay at.
Yeah.
There's no real difference. There's no, you can't really compare it to college, but like, what was the difference? What do you think are the biggest similarities and biggest differences between prep school and college?
Okay, so for prep school and college, you're way closer than you are. So I'll put it like this. Imagine like a chart, high school on the left, far left, prep school, and then college on the far right. I would say prep school is a good mix between, because it's like high school where everyone has their high school pals or friends for the rest of their life.
Right.
You grow up with, you live with them, so you get close. But it's like college in the aspect that if your teacher doesn't make you do work, or if you don't hand in work, the teacher's not gonna chase you around.
Right.
She just
exactly.
you hand it in, you're gonna get a 0. Rather, sometimes in a public school, they call your mom.
Right.
Parent teacher conferences
Yep.
and that. So that's where I would say it falls in the middle. I would say it's closer in the athletic world. It's closer to college because it's way more serious. Prep school basketball is a little more high stakes.
Right.
Got your own facilities.
Right.
Like high level basketball. So on the athletic side, it's closer to college, but on the social side, I would say it's closer to high school just because you make these friendships that just last a long time when you're living with them. So like it's when you're living with someone at the age of 16, 15, like
right, exactly,
you become really close.
Exactly. What did you guys do when you got to Blair? Like, were you on like a weight program? Were there any like diets you had to go on? Or?
When I got to Blair, we had a weight program. I wouldn't say like, it wasn't like I had to get to a specific weight. We just had a lot of strength training,
right,
regimen, pick up every other day, and it was honestly the first time I was exposed to like lifting before practice, like just college like practices, lifting before practice, having a schedule, gotta watch film,
right.
got all that. I didn't receive any of that at Trumbull. I was blinded to that when I came to prep school, but that helped me prepare me for college.
Right. Yeah. So, how did Blair and prep school in general prepare you for college?
So, in the basketball wise or social wise, there's everything.
Both, yeah.
They prepare for college in the ways that college basketball is about family, and but it's also cutthroat, and it's also a business, and it's also about winning. Prep school prepared me for that. People really, really doing and want to do this for their life. It's not like a joke to them. So even though it's supposed to have fun, it's a game. It's still not a joke. It's very serious. It prepared me for in the basketball sense, at least, playing with a tough coach who's very hard on defense, i.e. Coach Dunn, my current coach right now. Playing with other talented players, learning how you're not just gonna be the only one on the floor, especially if you want to play at the highest level. You gotta learn how to fit in with he does this, he does that, and everyone wants to eat. So how do you fit in with that?
Right.
From the social aspect, I would say prep school preparing for. I want to say over-preparing for college because I've met so many people from so many different backgrounds. Because my school only had 400 kids, but we were represented by I don't know, it's like some crazy
bunch of countries.
Yeah, some crazy number of countries, like sometimes more than colleges. So my roommate was from Korea, down the hallway, my friends from China. Then I have a friend from Dubai. I got a friend from here, and then when you're in the moment, you're living it. They're just that's just Jack, that's just Aaron. They're not like these crazy people to you. But when you take a step back and you realize the type of people you were around, I think that's what I take most from prep school, from basketball, from anything. That's my biggest thing. Like the connections I made and the things I was exposed to that many people aren't exposed to.
Right.
Cultures, how people talk, just customs, things like that. I was just used to that. I would say at a young age of 16. So by the time I got older and by the time I got to college, it's easy to make friends with everybody because I can make some type of connection.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a great skill to have, honestly. All right, so coming out of prep school, you decided to go to Santa Clara. You did your freshman year there, and then you decided to transfer. So tell me what about Marist made you want to come here? So
this is a little story. What I liked about Marist, one, my high school coach, Coach Dunn, a little anecdote, we're roommates, and Steve Clifford, coach, I want to say the Magic, former coach of the Hornets, all under the same coaching tree, knew each other, so I like the familiarity. And while I was getting recruited by all these coaches, Coach Dunn said something very honest to me, and he said, you kind of blew us off a little bit at first, and I didn't like that, but I'm willing to give you a second chance, and I want to see how you can help our program. And the fact that he was so brutally honest with me, to the point where it's like, maybe I was like, wow, I cannot believe this guy recruiting me just said that. Usually coaches, say anything, they're trying to get you to the campus.
Right.
That drew me to him. Because
Okay.
I wasn't a freshman coming out of high school. I just wanted to get to work, and I wanted someone that would push me.
Right.
And the fact that Coach Dunn said that, I like that a lot.
Yeah.
That's how I came to, and the fact that I want to put my name part of something. Mm-hmm. So Marist obviously had a couple rough years, and if I could stamp my name on Marist getting back or even beyond and becoming a basketball school, basketball school, and I can say I was part of that, the start of that, I think that's very cool.
Right.
Name lasts forever.
Honestly, build a legacy.
Exactly.
Yeah. So when you say Coach Dunn said you blew him off at first, are you talking about your first recruitment or your second recruitment? Or just early on in the process?
Early on in the process, the transfer process, I was getting messages from a good amount of coaches, and I didn't know anything about Marist. I didn't even know who Coach Dunn was, so I kind of just. I wouldn't ignore him. It just wouldn't. It wasn't in my mind. I wasn't adequately taking it as serious as I possibly should. Mm-hmm. And he obviously knows he's a grown man. He understands. He understands how that works. Mm-hmm. So that's what he meant by that. Just taking the situation more serious.
Right. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Did you like the campus? What else brought you here besides basketball?
The campus is a hidden gem. I think in the MAC, the only campus that can come close to us is maybe Quinnipiac and Fairfield. Which I don't understand, which blows my mind. I think the better we become and the more recruiting comes, I think people are going to be like, wow, you guys, this is a crazy campus. Yeah. That drew me, obviously, the academics. Mm-hmm. And, at some point, I'm going to have to stop. The ball's going to have to stop bouncing. Right. And the fact that having a strong education from Marist, small school, the connections, that was very, very important to me to helping choose this school.
Exactly. Yeah. Mm-hmm. What's your major here?
Marketing.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, great. Yeah. I'm advertising, so
nice.
Very similar. What are you most excited about finally making your return to the court coming up this season?
I think about this all the time, and obviously the cliche answer is I'm excited to play well, hear the crowd scream, do that. But mostly, I'm just excited to just get that feeling when you're just in the game. Your blood's flowing, you're sweating so much, you're just so locked into the game. Right. It's in the middle of the game, you're just out there competing. I didn't play as much as I wanted to my freshman year, so I haven't, and I obviously had to sit out last year, so it's been about a year and a half, 2 years since I felt that, and that's what I missed the most. Just that, it's like you're at war. You're not tired, your mind's just locked in. That's just an excited for, just to be out there, to be honest to you.
Right. Mm-hmm. And how would you describe your Redshirt year? I know that's something that is a struggle for a lot of players. What would you have to say about that?
It was tough, the Redshirt year, obviously not playing and me wanting to help our team and have to sit from the bench. It helped because I had, Mike Cubbage, Jordan Jones with me. So that made it easier working out with those guys. But I just took advantage of it. Got better at things I need to get I was deficient at, and added a couple pounds, got a little stronger. Mm-hmm. And I would say the most thing I improved on, I would say, is my mental game. I would say that. Just obviously I have ways and ways to go, but watching same patterns and single players like to do, I feel like I've improved in that way.
That's extremely important, the mental game. That's because this game, everyone's an athlete once you get to this level. It's really up here where you win and where you lose a lot of times.
Exactly.
So, and what advice would you give maybe someone who's going into a redshirt year and, sometimes it's medical induced, sometimes it's just situational?
My advice, I would say, anyone going to the redshirt is first you got to be honest with yourself. You got to address, whether it's medical, that's a whole different story, but you got to address why you transferred, why this happened, and what you're deficient at.
Okay.
A lot of time, especially in this era of college basketball, I would admit I had thoughts like that too. It's all blame that guy and let's leave. And sometimes you were treated unfairly and it is like that. But there's always two sides to every story.
Exactly.
So being honest with yourself and realizing what you need to get better at and what you lacked, I think is the number one thing that transfers need to. That's my biggest advice. Mm-hmm. If you leave the transfer process and you just think you did nothing, could have been better at something, it's just all someone else's fault, then you're not growing as a person. Right. Because that's not how life works.
Exactly.
So I would just say being honest with yourself.
Awesome. Yeah, just way to be able to just take blame for yourself.
Exactly. I did this, I got to get better at this.
Yeah, and just using it as a tool.
Exactly.
The redshirt year, that's basically what it is. Yeah, it's a tool.
Exactly.
It's for a lot of people, it's a hindrance and it gets in your way, but
you turn to advantage.
Exactly. Yeah. So I have a question about your game, real quick. Why are you so competitive, dude?
All right, why am I so competitive?
You get after it. Like, you get in people. You start talking. You get in people's ears. Like, you get aggressive out there.
I hate to lose more than I like to win. The feeling of having to watch my opponent like smile, laugh, I just can't stand it. I just can't stand it. And I genuinely feel like the more I'm like that, even when it's not game to my teammates and everyone else, when I get into the game and we're playing Iona, or if we're blessed enough we're in a tournament, or just any type of high intensity game, it's second nature. It's not the intensity ramps up and I start missing, or like no one's used to it. Everyone's used to it now. Everyone's used to me saying things. Right. I'm used to getting in people's face, getting like very intense. So the more I'm used to that in the game, it's second nature.
Right. Yeah. I also want to know, like, where did you build your work ethic from? Because I've noticed, like, in just the year and a half of knowing you, you're probably one of the hardest working players on the team. Like, you're always getting shots up. You're always the guy trying to get people to come play pickup. You're always the one that's like, all right, let's do one more. You trying to shoot? Come on, one more. Like, where did you get that from?
Well, I'll say, my little cousin, his stepfather is coach was on the bench for the Warriors. He's actually in the Suns now. So I would say talking to him and really seeing, like, talking to not my uncle, my little cousin, and him telling me stories of these NBA players and him telling me how hard they worked, and Steph Curry and KD are doing this, and these are all world players working harder than me the average person. And a mix of that, and I don't want to, maybe it's not the right word, but I'm scared. I'm scared to fail. Okay. I'm scared. I think that drives most people. I don't want to fail. Yeah. Or if I do, I'm scared to that feeling that I not try hard enough. Right. And if I fail and I try hard enough, that's fine. Or if not failing, obviously that's the best thing. But just scared to not succeed drives me to hard work. Drives me when I'm tired to just keep pushing it. Right.
Right. That's great, honestly. So, you know, I'm going to switch up the pace a little bit. I believe we talked a lot about your game and about transferring and AAU and all that. So I wanted to gauge your thoughts on the current NBA. So who's your favorite player to watch right now?
Kyrie Irving.
Kyrie Irving?
Okay. Without a doubt.
Okay.
Kyrie Irving.
Yeah. And why is that?
The way sometimes old people or like old coaches would say he does too much, and like he does sometimes do a little too much, but the way how skilled he is and how effortlessly he makes these plays at my height, not even an inch shorter than me, not crazy. He obviously is athletic, but he doesn't have a 40-inch vertical, doesn't have a set 6'11" wingspan. No. The way he just makes these NBA athletes and defenders look with the ball in his hands, and that's pure skill. Yeah. Like, absolutely. He's just outskilling these people. It's magic to me. How he finishes over these 7-footers, how he does it every single game is magic to me. Okay. And that's why he's a favorite player to watch.
Awesome. Wait, I actually have to have another question to switch the topic again. I've noticed you have the most low-key shoe collection on the team. And it just seems like you have a new shoe like every other day, and I'm just like, where did this guy get this shoe from?
Putting a warning out here right now. I'm coming for the kicks on court champ in the MAC this year. I'm a sneakerhead till I die, and I love sneakers. Okay. I would say about every couple weeks I'm looking on the market for a new sneaker. Right. You look good, you play good.
What's your favorite sneaker?
Kobe's. Any Kobe's. Okay. Low top.
You like to play in them too, or you just like to rock them?
Rock them, play in them. Best sneaker to me, Kobe's.
You big J's guy?
Not to play in, to wear around the retros, but to play in all straight Kobe's. Or maybe in Kyrie's, that's my guy. Those two.
I see. And you also, like, I've also noticed you like fashion a little bit too, right?
Love it.
Who are your favorite designers, like brands?
Brands, I would say Prada. Gucci, Vetements. Then I would say a small company called Alfred Dunhill in London. To me, a lot of people think of fashion as like kind of weird, kind of crazy, and I can see that people be wearing crazy things. To me, fashion is just a way to express yourself. Right. And like I feel like I've always been like a person that's like a little out of the box, a little want to do things my way. And fashion's like to me is my perfect outlet to let people know this is how I am as a person. Awesome. This is how It's how my creative expression is. Let the world know.
Right.
That's why I love fashion so much.
Right. Great.
And Nike. Shout out Nike.
Yes, I was about to say.
Nike's running the game.
Okay. All right. Good. So we talked about your favorite player. Talked about your shoe collection. Can you give me a top 5 list of each position in the NBA?
I'm ready. Let's go. Point guards. This is no particular. Actually, no, I'll do it in particular order. Steph Curry, bar none. I think if you disagree, you're just a hater. Sorry to say it. What this guy's doing is crazy.
Yeah.
Steph Curry, number 1. I would say after his recent playoff run, I would give Damian Lillard the 2 spot. 3, I'm going to give it to a toss-up between Russ or Kyrie, 3-4. Depends on that. That's just I'm a Kyrie fan.
Yeah, I'd take Kyrie.
I take Kyrie, but there's people who value Russell Westbrook's like intensity and his like lead like that. You know,
I get that.
So I was like, okay, I'm not gonna. And he's had average triple-double 3 over the years. And I can't take anything away from that.
Okay.
So Russ, Kyrie, 4, 5. Then on my 5th, I would say I'm missing someone. Who am I missing? My 5th point guard. I would say it's either Kemba.
Okay.
But Kemba's already done anything in the playoffs, but he's an all-star. He hasn't been to the playoffs. All right, this is going to be a dark horse. I'm giving it to Jrue Holiday.
Oh, I knew you were going to say that too.
Because he's a two-way player and he can give you 30 and lock up a guy who can get 30. Let's not forget, we saw him lock up Damian Lillard about a year and a half ago, and Damian Lillard's a problem.
And CJ.
This guy was actually locking them up.
Okay.
Jrue Holiday.
I'll give it.
Yeah.
All right, I'll give it to Jrue. All right, so 2 guards.
2 guards. James Harden's a 1 to me in my mind, but I'll throw him in a 2.
Okay.
James Harden, at the Klay Thompson, Bradley Beal, CJ McCollum. Mm-hmm. Then I would say Donovan Mitchell.
Mitchell?
I'm sorry. I am so sorry. Devin Booker.
Okay. That's a good one. I was just surprised you didn't say Jimmy Butler for any of those.
Jimmy Butler's a 2. He's a 2. He's not a 3.
I'd call him a 2. Right.
Okay. See, I'm biased. Just let everyone know. My game, if you ever come see me play, I'm a very skilled I score off skill.
Yeah.
I'm not the most physically imposing guy. So I'm just gonna go. To me, that's just. But Jimmy, I would say. Actually, no, I'll take it back. Because of what Jimmy Butler has accomplished and he's been around longer, I'd say you have to throw him in before Devin Booker.
All right.
That's fair. That's fair.
To everyone listening, come out to Marist men's basketball games this year. Sir. You get to watch this man in person.
Yes, sir.
Just shameless plug right there. So threes.
You know how I'm going with. Don't have to. LeBron, the GOAT.
Right.
Better than Jordan. Talk about that later.
I mean, yeah.
Talk about that.
we can have more people on, and we can have this group conversation.
Because that could take hours.
Honestly, yeah. But because I'm with you on this one. I'm with you.
I'm a LeBron guy. I think what he does. So, but my top 5 for threes: LeBron, KD. LeBron, KD. Giannis is a power forward, right? He's labeled as a power forward.
I think he's labeled as a 3.
He's labeled as okay. So Giannis, KD. LeBron, KD, Giannis.
Okay.
Who do I like as a 3? I'm missing someone big. No, I'm not. Who?
You're missing 2 teammates. Teammates in LA
for threes. Who?
Kawhi and Paul George.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Wow. Okay, yeah. Kawhi, Paul George, Giannis, LeBron. It's actually crazy how stacked the small forward position is. Mm-hmm. Those are arguably 5 top 10 NBA players.
Right. And then everyone's saying it's a guard's game, but
wow. Yeah.
But these are the guys who are dominating the game.
Yeah, those are the 5. You can if someone said that's their top 5, I wouldn't look at you that crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Top 5 players in the NBA.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, they can all because they're both two-way. Okay, wow. So those top 5, yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy to think about because everyone's saying, "Oh, it's such a guard game."
Mm-hmm.
Forward position is obsolete at this point. It's not true. That's bogus.
True. That's not true at all.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's not true.
Exactly. The NBA is littered with point guard and shooting guard talent. Mm-hmm. It's just but the true dominant position has always been on the wing.
That's why it's an anomaly to me what Steph Curry has did.
Right.
That's even though point guards have dominant a while, what Steph Curry and James Harden. See, someone may say I'm not old enough, I didn't see old basketball, but I have not seen what Steph Curry and James Harden do on a daily basis. Those are the 2, other than the 5 threes that I think those dominate the game because their defense. Those 2 I think are would be the guards I would put that can like dominate the same way as they could.
No, really. Yeah. Yeah. They put two different play styles, too.
Complete different play styles.
Right.
I'm more of a... Curry's just unrealistic. Like, I'm a fan of his play style, but it's just not like possible to guard. It's just not good. It's not good offense. It's terrible offense actually by any a coach was watching him play, but it's a horrible shot. But
no, some of the shots he gets like crazy. He's constantly moving without the ball.
I can't imagine guarding him. His confidence is through the roof.
All right, we'll get to the 4s and the 5s in a minute. I just have a couple other questions for you. How did you develop your play style?
I would say watching my brother, who's a shooter, and for some reason I've always liked shooting mid-range jump shots.
Okay.
And I'm athletic, quick, and like a lateral way. I'm pretty quick. Yeah. I'm not like blessed vertically, so that's where the floaters always come in.
Right.
Pull up jump shots. That's what developed my gigs. So like, I wasn't dunking on anybody, and I always played athletic bigs. Obviously, Jordan Jones, you'll see him play very athletic, and Dan Gok athletic. So just I always like getting into the middle, like the heads like to do, and just throwing lobs and stuff. That's
exactly. Yeah, you got long arms too. Exactly. It's easy to.
I'm trying to work on my defense.
Yeah,
so that's the next step.
Oh yeah,
yeah. It's coming soon.
Coach Dunn's got you working.
It's coming
for sure.
soon. Coming soon.
All right, I respect that. The bounce too.
Terrence has seen it. See, my friends that watch this podcast won't believe him, but Terrence has seen the bounce coming along. Just watch. Watch your head.
Yeah. Okay. And all right. So we'll get back into your NBA top 5s at each position. All right. Give me your 4s.
4s. Jokic is a 5, right? Yeah, he's a 5. 4s. Who are the good 4s in the NBA? How am I drawing this blank right now? Tobias Harris, maybe?
He's more of a 3.
He's over 3. Yeah,
He's playing the 3. He played the 4 a little bit last year. When they like to go small, but normally Philly.
Who are good 4s? I don't even know who. I don't know why it's not in my head right now. There definitely is nasty.
If you think about the best teams in the league, you think about guys
Blake
like
Griffin.
He's
a 4, right?
Draymond Green.
Okay, yeah. Blake Griffin.
Al Horford.
He's a 4. Al Horford.
I call him. I think that's his natural position because that's what he played in college, playing with Joakim Noah.
Oh, okay.
And then once he got to Boston, they had to run that small ball.
So that's his natural position. Okay, so Al Horford, the 2 you just mentioned. Repeat them. What did you say? Al Horford.
I said Draymond Green.
Draymond Green, he has to be there.
Yeah.
Draymond Green.
Blake Griffin.
Blake Griffin. I think Blake Griffin's the best. He's so talented.
I like Blake Griffin.
He's like really, really good. I don't think people talk about him.
He's been underrated since he got to Detroit.
I like watching him at Detroit. Did not realize like, yo, this guy's actually like nasty.
No, yeah.
Oh, Anthony Davis, obviously. I forgot him.
Right.
So that's 4, and then. I don't know if he's a 4. He might be considered a 4. He's young. I don't know if he's my top 5. I like John Collins a lot.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'd call him a 4.
If he's a 4
from the Hawks,
I like him.
He's athletic.
I think he's. I'm probably missing someone like not thinking of right now, but I like him a lot.
Yeah, you pair him with Trae Young.
Yeah,
he's a perfect guy to play with.
Trae Young, space, throw lobs. I like him.
I like the Hawks, honestly. The fact that they went out and got DeAndre Hunter and Cam Reddish, 2 guys who can defend, shoot, to play with an athletic big in John Collins.
And a playmaking soup. How Trae Young is, and they don't have to worry about anything. They don't have any pressure on them.
Right.
Everyone's looking at the West right now, and like all those duos right now, they can learn, mess up, grow. Team to watch.
Yeah, Lloyd Pierce, the head coach, just coached with Pop this summer. Oh, so he had a full summer to work with Coach Popovich.
He's coming back with some.
Yeah. Exactly. He's coming back with some great knowledge, great understanding of, how to run a team, how to run an organization, and how to be successful for a prolonged period of time, especially with their young guys.
You ever wonder, like, what is Pop doing that all these coaches are not doing? Like, why are
That's true. That is true.
Why are the Spurs like that for 20 years or so?
It's probably such a simple thing, too.
Because people pick his brain.
Right.
Like, you see, who was under him? The coach at the 76ers.
Oh, Brett Brown.
He was under
Brett Brown was there.
Off-centers are good, but they're not the Spurs. They don't play the Spurs.
It took him a while, too. Brett Brown was there for the entire process. They finally just became good 2 years ago.
What does he do? Why does Greg Popovich, it's really interesting, like, even without the time, even when Greg Popovich is not good, his team's not that good, like, you can expect an 8th seed. Like, maybe slip into the 8th or 7th. I don't get it. I don't get it.
Yeah, same.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Exactly. It's probably such a simple thing that he does, you know? And it's probably something that just gets overlooked anyone every time.
And no one notices?
Right.
It has to be, It can't be like his X's and O's are that crazy. Like, they're still NBA players.
Yeah, he's not running sets. Like, there's no magic set, you know?
I don't know. Interesting.
It's just about a culture that he's developed in San Antonio.
People buying in.
Exactly. Yeah. And it just maybe his coaching style and the way he's able to connect with his players, I guess.
Has to be.
All right, last one, centers.
Oh, centers. Okay, I love Joel Embiid.
Yes.
I'm going to say Jokic right now because he just demolished Team USA.
Okay.
So I'm going to say Jokic, Joel Embiid, tie because Jokic's passing is like, he might go down as like one of the best.
Right.
The best passing big.
No, he is talented.
Yeah, he's talented. Sure. Jokic, Embiid, Rudy Gobert. I guess for defensive purposes, maybe Hassan Whiteside. Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe because he's good defensively.
I'd slide Kent Capella before Whiteside.
What? Come on.
In my opinion.
You think so?
Like, I
James
think so.
Harden got him the $100 million.
That's true. But then you think about Whiteside. Whiteside had maybe like 1 or 2 years where he was like borderline all-star
That's what I'm saying,
level,
yeah.
You know? And I'll be intrigued to see what he does in Portland. I still really like the fact that he's a defensive guy and that he's always worked, and like his classic quote, like I'm trying to get my 2K rating up. It's just it served as humor and inspiration for everyone, honestly. And I don't know, Whiteside's an interesting one. I didn't expect you to say that.
I didn't like Hassan Whiteside, but I didn't even know he was on the Blazers till like 2 days ago, and I was like, I think this is his year to prove how good he is. Yeah, because he's not the main focus. Right. He's got 2 basically all stars. Got Nurkic. Like you got pieces now, so like we're gonna see how good he is. Right. But so my 3 was Rudy Gobert, Joel Embiid. What else did I say? Rudy Gobert, Joel Embiid, Jokic, Hassan Whiteside thrown there, and I guess you got. Did Capella play well? Did he do anything last year? Like.
He did all right.
I
think he played pretty well.
Top 5 center though.
I don't think he had a very good playoffs. I think they had to take him out and run small ball with PJ Tucker at the 5. In that Golden State series. Yeah. I think that's probably why you don't really think that highly of Capella. But
how about Kristaps? Is he a 4 or 5? Even though he's injured, like I think if he's a 5, he's a 5, right? He's 7 something.
He's 7'3", but I'd label him as a 4.
Yeah, he's a 4. That's how he moves.
Yeah.
But if he was a 5, even if he's injured, I'm throwing Kristaps in there.
Okay.
And yeah, that's 5. Kristaps or maybe who else? I don't even know that. Who's a really good center? Who do I like watching? Okay, I see what you said, Capella. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, yeah, that's my 5. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, no Boogie.
He's how did I forget? Let's take Clint Capella out and put Boogie in. I'm sorry, DeMarcus. That's disrespectful. Okay, yeah. All
right. I have one last question. All right, this is gonna be it. All right, because we're running on 40 minutes. Don't want to keep these too long.
Got you.
Last one. Who has been the toughest player you've ever had to cover, and who has been the toughest player who's ever covered you?
Toughest player I ever had to cover was Trae Young, AAU, first AUBL game. His speed and change of his change of speeds is so crazy, and like his shape, like the fact that he can sprint up and down past you, and not get tired, and then while you're starting to get tired, he's pulling from 35, and you're just like, I'm not guarding him. Yeah. That's the toughest guy. Bar none, toughest guy I've played against. Trae Young. I had to guard Michael Porter for like 3 quarters, and I thought like he had like 20 something on me. Can't lie, but like Trae Young was way hard for me to guard. Like I'd rather switched onto this 7-footer basically than guard Trae Young. Trae Young was just too like. You can't like unless you're in elite shape. Like it's not even guarding him. It's just that you have to slow him down because you can't hand check anymore. So it's impossible.
Exactly.
Hardest player ever guarded me was a kid. He goes to Bryant. His name is Ike. Forgot his name.
Okay. He plays for Bryant?
Yeah, plays for Bryant now. He's the Pitbull. Short, stocky.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, just one of those.
He's just tough. Was he one of those 94 feet guys?
Yeah.
Okay.
Didn't have that much publicity. Wasn't like a known guy. Didn't care about getting buckets. Okay. He just wanted to lock you up. That's why is that Bryant? Okay. Toughest guy. Yeah, I had to go against.
And another question. Well, I keep asking all these questions.
I love it.
But why do you play? You're about point guard size, right? You're about 6'3", like 185. Like 6'3", 185. That's like average point guard size, you know? Why do you play off the ball normally?
Well, obviously for team purposes, and we have another big guard in Mike Cub, who's very good at handling the ball. And I would say I'm a better off the ball shooter than him. And my strongest point of my game is my catch and shoot. Allows me to get into space, lets people off balance. So the fact that obviously obviously at the highest level, 6'3" is like a normal guard height. But the fact that basketball is going towards more positionless, and me being able to come off the ball and screens, and I obviously like playmaking, I feel like I'm more effective playing off the ball than when I'm playing off the ball and creating for other people, and then here or there being the backup, the secondary ball handler, and helping other people keep people off task. But strongest suit, like my strongest thing is scoring, so playing off the ball helps me.
Okay, and so there's another topic that we didn't get into that we wanted to talk about. So last week there was a bit of an argument in the team. Some guys were talking about how Team USA lost in the FIBA World Cup. I'm going to recover that in my next podcast, by the way. But Team USA lost, and some guys were saying that it's because of how the AAU system is set up.
Mike Cervitas.
Yeah, we're just going to call out names.
Mike Cervitas.
Yeah, it was Mike. And
Sorry, Mike.
And Matt, you came back at him. You wanted to point. Yeah. This is your space to elaborate your point.
So I understand what Mike was saying. I do think AAU basketball has gotten a little toxic, and I do think these kids sometimes play for the wrong reasons, all about highlights. But in that same breath, like, I remember watching Kyrie Irving's Hoop mixtape. Everyone knows John Wall's Hoop mixtape.
Right.
Everyone knows. I watched KD in high school. These people have Hoop mixtapes. Yes, it wasn't as bad as this, but you can't say AAU culture ruined that. Like, at the end of the day, you wouldn't be saying that if John Wall, Bradley Beal, all those guys had played. Like, you wouldn't be saying that. I watched James Harden mixtape, like, or whatever his mixtape was in high school a couple of days ago. If those guys had played, you wouldn't have been saying that. Like, I feel like saying AAU basketball is like, first of all, there's a reason why America's the best country. Yeah. And I think that's
talent-wise.
I think it's disrespect to kind of other countries. Like, this is AAU basketball's fault because we lost to these other grown men who get paid almost near $1 million who will kick your you know what I'm saying? Like, they're not like, they're borderline, like, they can mess with it. Some of these guys scrimmage against NBA teams.
No, for sure.
So I think for you to say that, I'm like, is it really that, like, AAU basketball ruined it, or are they just 21-year-olds, 22-year-olds that have to mesh with each other?
Right, and look at it like this. You look at the All-Star 5, which is like the all-tournament team for the FIBA World Cup. It was Marc Gasol, Ricky Rubio, Bogdan Bogdanovic, Evan Fournier, and one other guy, Luis Scola. All five of those guys. Wow. Luis Scola, he averaged 18 points in this World Cup at 39 years old.
Wow.
Yeah. Luis Scola had a World Cup to remember, but you look at all those guys play in the NBA. All those guys are used to playing against those types of players, and all those guys are used to having their role in the NBA, and they're used to having their role with their national team. You know,
it's experience. Like, some of these teams have been together for 7-8 years. They're the same guys. Like, first of all, people need to realize. I hope people realize after this World Cup how, even though in NBA it may seem like these young players are obviously very, very talented, like the older All-Stars, it's another level. It's another step that I feel people forget. Like, it's not that, like, these guys are behind the AAU basketball. It's not that at all. It's just like you're not realizing how good Steph Curry, James Harden, Damian Lillard. Like, these guys are that much better. Like, it shows you when we have that team, we destroy everybody. Like, they're young kids. Like, it's hard. Like, everyone wants to score. It's hard. It's hard playing. They're all obviously talented enough. Any one of those guys would be a star in any international team that they played with. Like, it's tough. Yeah, and they grew up in a system to where they were developed at a young age. They knew they were going to be the best player in their country. A lot of these guys went into this summer thinking, I'm maybe going to get an invite to training camp to be on the select team. Not thinking I'm on the main team. Like, that's hard. What? Then to mesh with each other? Like, exactly. Like, coaching can't do that. That's hard. You need time. Like, exactly. And I think that's where Mike and other people think, like, the egos come into play, because a lot of these guys in high school, maybe or in AAU in college, were like the stars of their team. Like Jaylen Brown, you watch him in high school. You watch him at Cal that 1 year he did there. He was a superstar there. He goes to the Celtics. He plays a few years with them. He starts to develop a role within the Celtics team, and then now you throw him
into the World Cup team to where he's one of the headliners of the team, but he's still coming off the bench, you know?
So let me ask this. This is for you and Mike.
Okay.
Do you really think the best guys in the world don't have egos? Like, when Mike
no.
said egos, I was like, Mike, I promise you, everyone has an ego. You don't think you see how Steph Curry played James Harden. You don't think they all have
LeBron.
egos? They all,
LeBron. Yeah.
Like, as a young guy, I'm coming up, like, if I'm Donovan Mitchell, like, I just knocked out Russ Westbrook in the playoffs, and you expect him to not have an ego?
Right.
You just saw Jason Tatum take his Celtics team, along with Terraspin and some others, almost to the championship.
Yeah.
Everyone has an
7
ego.
games against LeBron.
When you get to the NBA, it's about, like, I don't even think they care about the ego. It's not even that. It's just, like, they're just not as good as the older guys, and they don't know how to, they're just not as developed as the older guys yet. And that's purely what it is. Ego can't, like, I think you can really tell when ego's getting in the way. Like, I think with the Celtics, when it started to get dysfunctional towards the end of last year, you can clearly tell there was ego problems. Terraspin Year went on and said, I took a back seat and did a lot of I didn't have to do any of this. Like, that's ego. Like, that's when ego actually starts to mess up. Not when they're not when they're, like, not meshing well together. You know, that's not ego. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Honestly, it's just chemistry.
It's chemistry.
Like, a lack of chemistry.
Lack of chemistry.
Right. Because like the Celtics had time. They had the time to develop chemistry. These guys playing in this World Cup, they didn't have much time to develop chemistry.
0 time.
The Celtics had 2 years to develop chemistry. And like that's still not a ton of time.
Exactly.
But like that's enough time to at least win a playoff series. You know? All right, well, I'd like to thank Matt for coming on. It was a pleasure to have him on. I'll definitely have you on again because so we can continue the conversation, continue to talk about this stuff this game that we love, you know, and you know we're looking forward to a great season out of you. You know, I see it every day in practice. You're working your tail off, all right, and you know I expect big things. I just want to thank everyone for listening. Thank Matt again for coming on. And Matt, you have anything to say?
Just want to say thank you, Terrence, for obviously having me on. Love talking about basketball, doing a great job, and hope I can get back again sometime soon.
All right, sounds good. Thank you. All right.